Welcome back to the Pro Sports Podcasters. My name's Quibert Ron, and today I want to take a look at what's going on UFC Strike. And first of all, let's talk a little bit about the challenge that just occurred, their first collection challenge at UFC 273. And it ended up being an Alexander Volkanovski moment, which I'm solid with. Those of you that watched my previous video know that I was really hoping for a Khamzat Chimaev. I was really hoping that maybe we'd see him finish Gilbert Burns and get that additional moment as a key piece to our collection. But getting Volkanovski is actually kind of a bonus, really, when it comes right down to it, because the only Volkanovski moment that's available right now is the champion moment. So having this bonus moment that comes out as a fandom moment makes it possible to have Volkanovski as part of your collection and not have to go out big from the bank to get an actual Volkanovski champion. And that was a great fight, by the way. Fantastic fight. Volkanovski was just dominant there. And it's what I expected when he comes right down to it. Chan Sung Jung didn't really deserve a title shot, right? He was only in there replacing an injured Max Holloway. So it was no surprise to me that Volkanovski dominated him. I was actually hoping to see a little more out of Chan Sung Jung. At least a couple of, decent shots. He's a very good striker, but he just didn't have the speed to deal with Volkanovski's movement. And I'm looking forward to seeing what that actual moment will be like because, of course, I qualified for the challenge. Going forward, they've talked about there'll be additional challenges, but before we get to that, we have this special release that focuses on the Diaz brothers, Nick and Nate. Now, every pack that's coming out, and there's only, I think, 2,500 of them, so there isn't very many, but every pack is going to have either a Nick or a Nate Diaz moment in it. And there are a number of moments they can choose from. Obviously, this is a good sign for Diaz brother fans because both Nick and Nate are still under contract with the UFC. Both of them have made rumblings about potentially leaving the UFC and doing their own thing. But the fact that they're being released as a key moment addition to a specific UFC Strike pack, and there's talks about Nick having a fight sometime in 2022, and Nate's already been talking about wanting to get another fight in with whether it be Dustin Poirier or even Conor McGregor again, whatever, but they're still going to be active. We're still going to see them do things on the UFC. So fans of the Diaz brothers, be happy about this. But there are a number of different moments that they could choose to use in this situation, but which moment would I want? Simple for me. It's very easy. How could you not want the Nate Diaz choking out Conor McGregor moment? I mean, unless you are a Conor McGregor diehard fan and in denial that, he tends to lose quite often these days, that's the moment you're going to want. That's the one you're going to want. There isn't a more iconic win for either Diaz brother in the UFC than Nate choking out Conor McGregor, especially the way he did it. That would be an amazing moment to have. That's the one I want. If I go in this pack drop, and I may actually jump into this pack drop, that's what I'm hoping for. Everything else, whatever. Now, the other moments being released in the pack drop are Series 1 moments. I assume that they still have a number of them left that haven't been released yet, so it'll just be more of the same of what we already have. Although you could still bonus here because you could still hit potentially a Khabib if you haven't got that in your collection right now. So that's an additional bonus. So not only do you have a shot at that phenomenal moment of McGregor getting choked out by Diaz, but you also got a shot at hitting a Khabib. So it's not a bad pack drop as pack drops go. And it's nice to have either a Nick or a Nate in the collection. I'm going to want both. So whichever one I don't get, if I go in the pack drop, I'm going to want the other. They're not saying how many packs you can buy, but I assume it's going to be one because of such limited numbers. It's only going to be one. So you'll get one or the other, and then you have the option to buy the other on the marketplace. The marketplace had taken some significant dip lately. The challenge helped a little bit, but not a lot when it comes right down to it. There are a few particular moments that I still think people should target. I've talked about this with a couple others actually on our chats attached to some of the videos on YouTube. And I mean, everyone agrees that Chandler's probably a moment everyone should have. Gaethje's a moment everyone should have. These are both high-level mixed martial artists that are going to be involved in high-level fights, right? Chandler's got a fight coming up against Ferguson. Ferguson's at the end of his career. Ferguson is done. He's basically walking scar tissue at this point. Chandler's going to win that fight. I don't see how he could lose it. Tell you the truth, I really don't. So if you have any Chandlers, expect it to go up with that. Gaethje's got that fight come up against Oliveira. I've got Oliveira as the favorite there, really. I expect Oliveira to get the win just because he can beat Gaethje in kind of more places than Gaethje can beat him. But do not count out Justin Gaethje. He's a great striker. He's got a chance to potentially knock out Oliveira. And even if he loses that fight, it's not going to hurt his legacy any, right? He's still going to be at the top. He's still going to have great fights coming up. So you're going to want to have some Gaethjes in your collection. When I'm looking outside of that, I mean, it's really speculation. If you look at, what our fighters did at UFC 273, I mean, Ian Garry was okay. He was supposed to win that fight. He didn't look nearly as good as I had hoped he would. So my reservations on Ian Garry is that just like Paddy Pimblett, as soon as he starts to fight some actual ranked quality opponents, we may see him get exposed, right? It's very possible with it. How do you feel about the UFC Strike Marketplace, and how do you feel about the announcement of all these things coming up? More challenges attached to actual events, special release with the Nick and Nate Diaz packs. What's your opinion of it? What do you feel like UFC Strike's doing right or UFC Strike's doing wrong? Let me know in the comments. And if you haven't yet, definitely check out our website, www.prosportspodcasters.com. We've got articles on absolutely everything, okay? And we do actually cover a lot of MMA, and very recently we got UFC verified, so we'll be covering a lot more UFC going forward. So do yourself a solid, check out the website, scroll to the bottom of the main page and sign up to be a PSP Insider so you get all the additional news, info first, and specific tips geared to both UFC Strike and NFL All Day. Till next time.